I'm Vanessa Franco. Welcome to another edition of PE Live. I'm joined by one of my favorite artists. I'm so excited to finally have you in here. Thank you. It's Curtis King. Yay!
Hello, hello. Curtis King, Baby Sinbad, Jason Kidd's older brother.
You have already had a crazy 2013. Like, it has been jam-packed. Starting with, you were on the road with some names that people may have heard of, like Murs.
Murs, Prof, Ashan from in the Bay. It was an interesting tour. I learned a lot in that 2-month span.
It was the road to paid dues, and you went all over the country.
2 months, 25 states. It was basically, the way they set it up was, it was supposed to be Noah James and Curtis King on behalf of Black Cloud Music. So we basically shared a 15-minute set. We drove a 15-passenger van from Fontana all the way around the U.S. to blizzards in Salt Lake City, to Florida, to Washington, D.C., and we drove that all the way back to the Inland Empire.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. What were some of the things that you learned, that you gained the most from that incredible tour?
I think I came back with a different perspective on human beings in general. I think that as an artist, especially independent artist, and really being known locally, your perspective is a little bit limited in terms of your four walls or the boundaries of your city. But when you go out there, and I mean literally, we didn't have enough money to put in our gas tank to get to the next stop, but the only way we did that were people who said, you know what, I came late, you guys were the openers, but you're on tour with Murs, so that says something. Let me have every album that you have on your table. I was built with the most excellent preciseness to fly your plane. Forget all your perceptions, I elected to do it my way. Photo opportunity, ain't no negatives in my mind's frame. Develop those in the opposite direction and have a kind day. Run away, run away. Sometimes my mind on a runaway lane. I flooded these streets when I put all these beats with colorful dialogue that I paint. Ain't about being things that I ain't. Can't no man tell me I can't. So you can't leave from that situation and not really think about the goodness of people and human nature. So I think that was the biggest thing that I took from it, and just really seeing what it was that I was doing at home musically that was working, and it works all around the U.S. And just you learn a lot about yourself. You learn to the point where it's like, there's some things that I know that I do very well, and there's some things I know I can improve on, but when you see how well they work, you're like, okay, I'm coming back home. And it makes the Inland Empire feel that small now. So it's like, it's a beautiful feeling, because I just came back and I'm hungry to do more.
Well, you're also part of a group that you guys have been really keeping the scene alive and making some of the greatest music coming out of here.
Thank you.
Ticophobia, one of my favorite records. I don't know how many times I keep putting it in the paper because I love it so much. But can you talk a little bit about Black Cloud and just you guys together and what you've done and why the community works so well?
I think that Black Cloud, just when you take it aside just from music, I mean, we're all brothers. We're all dudes that can hang out with each other. If there was no music, we would all get along. And I think that Black Cloud is really set within the community. Like Black Cloud does a Toys for Tots every year, and gives back to the community. We really want to make sure that the Inland Empire knows that we're not just an entity within the Inland Empire. We really feel like this is a family. We all represent each other. My favorite thing to say is that if an artist leaves here and goes to Montana and they've never heard of Inland Empire, you are all of a sudden an ambassador now. And what are you going to say that's going to make them say, you know what, I want to look into more artists? So I think for Black Cloud Music, that's the same mentality we have. We always try to put our best foot forward. Even in terms of projects, no project leaves without a release date, without the right album cover. We'll go through multiple album covers if it's not right. Nothing leaves without having that quality that we're known for. And I mean, it's an interesting group of individuals that happen to do music, and I think that that's what works, is that we all kind of have our quirks and our flat tops and things like that. Duel when I was younger, when it was pure, and me and my brother recorded songs all summer on a tape deck. When you flip that tape and you make your double vocals, would you wonder, or would that help you understand my hunger? Some days I wake up late 'cause I can't see outside the sun up. Some days I wake up late 'cause I can't see outside my tunnel. People said, you don't know what you got approaching, Kurt. Those are words I think I had to hear before I knew my worth. Sometimes I'm immature, sometimes I'm insecure. Man, forget it. Today I'm living more.
Well, and you actually aren't from the Inland Empire. You kind of, can you talk a little bit about how you ended up out here?
I ended up out here on accident, flat out. I ended up out here because, I shouldn't say by accident, because my mom was selling a house. My grandparents actually passed away and left us the house, but we ended up having to sell the house in Carson where I was living. And my mother was looking for affordable housing, and the Inland Empire suited that very well. So we ended up moving to Rancho Cucamonga, and I came out here, and I didn't know a lot about the scene. All I know is my journey here included a lot of fields and a lot of just desolate. It was not a lot of businesses on my journey here, so I didn't know what the scene was like. But then I went to the Common Ground with Noah James at the Vibe in Riverside, and I just started seeing the scene, and it reminded me a lot of what I used to read about with the 80s punk rock scene. How it was like, this is our scene, and everybody out here may not know about it, but they take pride in that. So it was like when I went in there and I saw how much love there was and people putting their hands up, and where I was from, that didn't happen. They were like this, and entertain me. Entertain me, that's not good enough. You're my favorite artist, but I'm still not gonna move. But coming out here, it's a different scene, it's a DIY culture, and I think that's why all these local brands support the local artists. We all are just trying to make something better of ourselves.
Exactly, you mentioned the Common Ground, like that's a big place where the scene has been growing, like for the last, it's almost 4 years now.
Yes.
I can't believe that. It seems like yesterday, I'm like, I lost 4 years somewhere along the way. But you've performed there, and so I want to talk about your album, because I love your album. You've done so much, you do production work,
Right.
you write, you do so many different things.
Right.
How about you, like your journey as an artist, like what has it been for you? Like, when did you know that music was what you were going to be doing?
I knew that music was what I wanted to do when I started figuring out music's therapeutic powers. When I started reading like articles where they would say that, folks who are going through life-threatening ailments would listen to certain chord progressions and would listen to certain, orchestras, and it would actually soothe them physically. Like that to me was remarkable. And when I figured out how music was therapeutic to me and the artists that I listened to me it was a no-brainer. And growing up, I was not social. I was like the one in class, quiet kid, had all these thoughts in my head, but I just really, that's what my name is. Curtis King really stands for, I went to a middle school called Curtis Middle School, and I was very shy. And when I overcame those insecurities, I became Curtis King. So that's I'm reminded about that every day. So my music has a therapeutic nature to it because that's what I go to music for, that's what I love music for. And that's why I think Aticophobia was received the way it was. Because, as an independent artist, and we're really independent, it went number 61 on iTunes. And for that to happen, especially coming out of, the Inland Empire, especially coming out from where I'm from, it's just you don't see that very often. And no major label backing, no manager. We are our own managers, our own booking agents, and we just happen to come across a lot of good people like yourself that really reach out and give us an opportunity to be heard. And we try to make sure we put our best foot forward always.
Well, it comes down to the music. Like, I'm just here. You make great music. I just get to write about it. So it works out. And the record is just so genuine.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit? It's
Okay.
more personal than
Right.
I think your previous material. Don't get me wrong. I love Snake at Night, and
Right,
I
right.
I talk about that all the time
Right.
because I'm a big fan of like everything that Nickelodeon did and so
Right.
your shorts. But Aticophobia is a much different record than what you put out on your mixtapes.
This is how I break it down. Snick at Night was me being super nostalgic, me being, I should say, stingy with my music and saying, I want to make the beats I've always wanted to make. I want to rap over Doug. I want to rap over Clarissa Explains It All. That was me saying, I'm just going to go back into my childhood and be happy. Jetpack on E was me trying to prove myself as a lyricist. I was trying to prove myself to other rappers. DIY was saying, forget that mentality. Make your music that you were supposed to make. That's why you have songs like Sinbad or, PCC and just different songs that were just, this guy's weird, but I know that's him. And it was okay. It was like really me just saying, forget it, I'm just gonna do the music I'm gonna do. Aticophobia was a combination of all those. So it was the first time I actually got to talk as honestly as I wanted to about my album. And a good friend of mine, Ab-Soul, always told me, he said, when you release your debut album, the album that you release for sale, you're gonna have to tell some stories. You save those stories, you're gonna have to really tell some stories in that album. and make it worth somebody investing into it. Because when I'm telling you stories about how I was dead broke and how I didn't have certain things, but somehow music brought me out of that hole, that relates on a universal level, not just to other rappers. It just relates to to other human beings. So Aticophobia is that personal because I had to dig that deep to get the reaction that I wanted to get. So that's my baby, and now that I got that out of my system, now I can have fun.
Well, that's a great lead into the next question. What's
Right.
next?
Next is new music. And the thing is, you don't leave the road and not learn things, right? At least not me. I don't come from that road experience and not want to do different things. I listen to different sounds in Washington, D.C. and went to the South and I listen to different sounds there. And it's different to hear it on the radio and then to actually be within the scene. We went to Mardi Gras this year. Like, I've never been to Mardi Gras, and just seeing things that work, seeing things people listen to and what they all have in common, it really made me say, you know what, okay, it's a celebratory time. Just came off the road to Paid Dues. We just hosted a stage at Paid Dues. I went on tour, one of my heroes, and I'm really feeling celebratory. So the next music that's gonna happen is, the energy's gonna go up. I'm gonna really, really take care of my live show, make sure that takes another boost. Like, I'm a student until I stop doing this. I'm really it's gonna get interesting because now things have to get stepped up another notch. Can't do Aticophobia again. That's been done now. Now it's time to have fun.
Well, and when people want to hear the new music, where can they find you online?
If you want to find my newest music, you can go to CurtisKing.com. You can go to BlackCloudMusic.com. Google is an awesome tool, and you probably could use that to look up Curtis King, but with 2 S's, because if you look up with 1 S, you may find a jazz musician. That is definitely not me. But yeah, CurtisKing.com, BlackCloudMusic.com.
Thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you for inviting me.